Bhumehe Bharam Krita Antena Tirashchakara Kuva Amushyangri Sarojarinum Kova Amushyangri Sarojarinum Vismartum Ishita Puman Vijikran Vismartum Ishita Puman Vijikran Yo Visfurat Bru Vitapena Bhumer Yo Visfurat Bru Vitapena Bhumer Param Kitantena Tirashchakara Param Kitantena Tirashchakara Kova Amushangri Sarojarenum Vismartum Ishita Puman Vijikran Yo Visfurat Bru Vitapena Bhumer Param Kitantena Tirashchakara Kova Amushangri Sarojarenum Vismartam Ishita Puman Vijikran Yo Visfurat Bru Vitapena Bhumer Bharam Kritantena Tirashchakara Parth, 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 Parth. Is this on? Vismartam Ishita Puman Vijikran Yo Visvarat Bru Vitapena Bhumer Sarojarenum Vismartam Ishita Puman Vijikran Yo Visvarat Bru Vitapena Bhumer Param Kitantena Tirashchakara Kava Amushangri Sarojarenum Vismartam Ishita Puman Vijikran Visvarat Bru Vitapena Bhumer Param Kritantena Tirashchakara. Matadis, give me this phone real quick. Bharam Kritantena Tirashchakara. Kumbha Amushangri Sarojarenum Vismartamishita Puman Vijikran Yo Visvarat Bhuvitapena Bhumer Bharam Kritantena Tirashchakara. Kaha, who else? Va, either. Amushya, the Lord's. Angri, feet. Saroja, Renum, dust of the lotus. Vismartum, to forget. Ishita, may be able. Puman, person. Vijigran, smelling. Yaha, one who. Visvarat, expanding. Pruvitapena, by the leaves of the eyebrows. Bhumehe, of the earth. Bharam, burden. Krita antena, by death blows. Tirashchakara, executed. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Who, after smelling the dust of His lotus feet even once, could ever forget it? Simply by expanding the leaves of His eyebrows, Krishna has given the death blow to those who are burdening the earth. Purport: Lord Krishna cannot be accepted as one of the human beings, even though He played the role of an obedient son. His actions were so extraordinary that by the simple raising of His eyebrows, He could deliver death blows to those who are burdening the earth. Om Gyanantamiran Hasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshu Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Mano Bhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Svapadantikam Vande Ham Shri Guru Shri Yutaf Parakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavams Cha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitam Cha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vanchakalpa Turubhyas Chakra Prasandubi Eva Chapatita Nam Bhavane Bhyo Vaishnave Bhyo Namo Namaha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vikasa Swaminiti Namane Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namane Namaste Saraswate Devi Gauravani Pacharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashchati Deshitarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasari Gaur Bhaktivinoda. You can turn it down on that. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Yasya Devi Parabhaktir Yata Tevi Tathaguru Tasyaite Katita Hirata Prakashante Mahatmanaha. There should be something called receiver gain. You see that?
What? The volume, right?
No, receiver gain. And then you turn that down to like 0. Okay. Kova amushangri sarojarenum vismartam ishi tapuman vijikran yo visvarat bhru vitapena bhumer param kritantena tirashchakara. Who, after smelling the dust of His lotus feet even once, could ever forget it? Simply by expanding the leaves of His eyebrows, Krishna has given the death blow to those who are burdening the earth. So here we have Uddhava's speaking to Vidura and speaking about Krishna and going through all these different pastimes and different remembrances that he has of Krishna. And this verse in particular is talking about how once one is come into contact with Krishna consciousness, one has come into contact with Krishna, they're unable to forget him ever. And this is exemplified in so many ways, particularly like the gopis, they become mad after Krishna. They completely abandon their material dharma, I guess you could say, to be with Krishna, and they think about him 24/7. Just remember him all the time. After he leaves Vrindavan, they're always remembering him, always discussing him and all these things. Because once you come into contact with this, once you come into contact with Krishna and his devotees, it leaves an impression that cannot be forgotten. And this is because this is actually our true position. This is our constitutional position, to be in association with Krishna and his devotees, and to be attracted to Krishna, and to be remembering him and glorifying him and worshiping him and serving him. So we're actually getting a taste of the real thing. We're getting a taste of our true nature, and because of this, we become very blissful and very happy. And this happiness, this brand new taste that we've never experienced in material life, is unforgettable. It leaves a very deep impression on the mind. I was just meditating on just my kind of first impressions of Krishna consciousness after reading this, and seeing if this applied to me, that, if you get that one taste, can you ever forget it? And it's definitely the case, even though I came into contact with devotees very superficially, I guess you could say, I wasn't taking it seriously. I wasn't interested in surrendering or anything like that at the time. This was 8 years ago. Still, it left a very strong impression on my mind, and I remember still, I walked into the temple. I came for a japa period because I saw that there was meditation period, and I was interested in meditation. So I just showed up to the temple one morning during japa period after finding it online, and this brahmachari walked up to me, and immediately, I still to this day I can remember that moment, and he was different than anybody I'd ever met. I could tell that this person was different than anyone I'd ever met. He seemed no anxiety, all the materialistic people I knew were, ambitious and doing this and that and trying to get this, trying to get that thing, chasing after women, chasing after, taking intoxicants, whatever, money. But this person just immediately, just off of, I didn't even have to speak anything to him. Immediately I could tell he was something was different about him. He seemed very peaceful, very, again, not full of anxiety, and very welcoming. He came in and he invited me in and gave me some beads, taught me how to chant, and that whole experience was very just mystical, I guess you could say. After that, I just remembered that person. I kept in contact with him for some time, and then I fell off. But that left a strong impression on my mind that even after that, I kept that japa mala with me everywhere I went, and everywhere I would move from here to there, and not that I would chant every single day, but I would always be attracted to chant, at some point, I always remember that chanting and remember how I felt when I was chanting back in those first few times I did it. And nothing really compared to that in my material life. I realized later I was chasing after all these other things, money and this and that, trying to, have a career, and all these things left me unfulfilled and unhappy. And the one thing that actually made sense in my life was that. And that's the only thing that I experienced in my entire adult life, from when I was 18 to when I was 28. I looked back when I was 28 and I realized that's actually the only thing that made sense. That's the only thing that did anything for me, that made me feel some level of happiness. I tried all these different meditation techniques, went to all these different gurus, and read all these different books, all these Mayavad philosophy, Buddhism, all this stuff. And the only thing that really I felt, something was that, and also listening to kirtan. So the holy name, once you get in touch with this, you can't unsee it. You can't forget it, like it's saying here. There's so many other examples as well in the Bhagavatam. There's the four Kumaras who, once I believe they smelled the tulsi from the feet of the Lord, right? And they were attracted immediately. even though they were in the impersonalist conception and they were liberated in that way, they were still attracted. So even for those that are already liberated and in the impersonalist conception, they're still attracted, and they're maddened after the smell of the lotus feet, the smell of the dust of his lotus feet. Also, Shukadeva Goswami, he was in a similar position. He was completely self-realized and ran away from home as soon as he left the womb. After 16 years of being in the womb, he immediately ran away, left, and his father, Vyasadeva, sent people out into the forest after him to chant some shlokas from the Bhagavatam, and that attracted him, hearing about Krishna. So again, he heard and he couldn't forget it. He couldn't resist being attracted to it. And I'm sure everyone here has some similar experience of getting that initial first taste of Krishna consciousness and how amazing that was. And, for me, like I mentioned, that was, 6 years ago or 8 years ago in Denver. And then when I came here, that was my kind of second first taste, I guess you could say. Like, it was my first time around devotees for a long time. And I still remember, like, coming in, I met Mahotsa Prabhu first, and he started just, like, cracking jokes with me. And immediately I was like, whoa, this person's like, who is this? What is it? Because, again, the devotees I had met before were very kind of somber and grave. And, they were cool, but it was just like, they were like, yeah, this is like, we're monks, And then Mahotsa was like joking. And then I met Chandan too. And they're both like preaching really strong and then like joking with me. And like, I was like, what is this? Who are these people? I was like, immediately I was like, I want to be around these people because I want to take on some of their qualities, and I understood that, association is important, like who you're around is whose qualities you develop. So immediately I was like, okay, these people know a lot more than me, they know something that I don't know, I can tell that, and they're quoting from these books, okay, like they seem to know these books really well, and these books seem very legitimate, okay, like this is the real deal. And, tasting prasadam, dancing in that kirtan, and that first Sunday feast I came to, was all just like created such an impression that I was like, okay, let's do it. I'm ready. And again, like I'm sure everyone has that experience, whether it's maybe tasting prasadam, for the first time, or chanting for the first time, being in kirtan, even just meeting a devotee, getting some books, reading, a line out of Prabhupada's books, getting Prabhupada's first book that you get, a lot of people we meet on books, they get the bhakta stack and they see that self-realization. And you can tell at that moment that's creating that impression in their mind. Like they're attracted to that immediately. They don't know anything about Vishnu or Krishna. They just see that and they want that book for some reason because our natural state is to be attracted to Krishna in that way. And so, it just, that reawakens in them in that moment, and they become uncovered from all these material coverings, all this passion and ignorance just gets uncovered for a moment, thanks to the mercy of the devotees, and they're able to be in their constitutional position for that single moment and see, oh, I'm attracted to that, I want that. So that's really amazing thing. And of course there's this Vishaya Vinivartante Niraharase Dehinaha Rasa Varja Rasopyasya Param Drisva Nivartate, that once you experience this higher taste, you cease from all these lower activities naturally. It's just a natural following from that. So, once we get into this Krishna consciousness, naturally these old things that we used to do, all this old sense gratification we used to do, breaking the four regs, or even just, pious sense gratification, if you come from a more pious background, all these things, mental speculation that we used to do, this and that, playing video games, whatever, all of this becomes stale and like it doesn't attract you as much. We joke because one of my big mayas is playing golf, and so before I joined, I played every single day, and I was like really just addicted to it, and it's like whatever, old man sport, but we joke because we were in Miami at this convention, right, and right next to the convention center was a golf course, and so every day I was like parking the truck, and like I would have to I kept driving by this dang golf course like 20 times because there's no parking. And so they were messing with me. Mahotsa Prabhu and Tapas Prabhu were joking me, oh wow, you're so stupid, you're in Maya, like you want to go like hit that golf ball over there. Like, but in reality, like I look at it and like, okay, like maybe there's some tinge of like, attraction from my past for that. But I just think for 1 second and like, oh wait, that's really stupid. Like, and I see the people out there playing and I'm like, dang, they look miserable. Like it's super hot out there. Like they must be like so like, miserable out there. And it's so stupid, it's really dumb. You're just hitting a ball into a hole. But, that taste is there, before. And then as soon as you like get this higher taste, this Vishaya Vinivartan taste, as soon as you get that, you're, the old things that used to attract you, they don't feel the same. They don't work anymore in the way that they did. You can't unsee it, in other words. There's this like meme online of it. You can't unsee it. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. That, you've seen through the matrix, so to speak, like they have in the matrix, there's the blue pill and the red pill. And he gets the option of either, if you take the blue pill, I think it's the blue pill, you'll fall back asleep or whatever, you'll forget all of this. He's basically telling him like, okay, like this world is false, you're in an illusion. And he's like, okay, like if I take the blue pill, I'll forget all that you just said and I'll just go back to being like a karmi basically in the matrix. Or you take the red pill and you wake up out of the matrix and you actually go on in your life with the proper conception. So basically we've taken the red pill, we can't go back to what we were before. We've completely changed as people, this analogy of the iron and fire. As soon as the iron gets put in the fire, over some time it heats up and it becomes like fire. So this is happening to us. We're completely transforming, and there's no going back. There's no forgetting the smell of the lotus feet of Krishna. And ultimately we're here not because we really like love like waking up at 4 a.m. and we really are like, we were like living out there and we're like, man, I really want to like follow 4 regulative principles and like do all these things, like, live in this old church building. And we weren't like fantasizing about that. We're here because we're attracted to Krishna, and we got that taste in some way, and we're attracted to his devotees and, all these things. We're attracted to all these different aspects of devotional service. And the reason we're here is because we're attracted to Krishna, and we do all of these things. Every single one of our activities is centered around this attraction for Krishna. Waking up early is because this is the most conducive time to practice our sadhana, and this is what our spiritual masters have prescribed for us. And because we understand that following the spiritual master is what pleases Krishna, we're doing that. We're following the 4 regular principles again because we understand it pleases Krishna, and we want to please Krishna through our actions. So everything we're doing in that way is to cultivate that attraction to Krishna. So even if sometimes it feels like, oh, like I don't have any taste for this, I'm struggling, I don't know what I'm doing here, whatever, I don't understand the philosophy, whatever it may be, your hang-ups, you have to remember that you do have some attraction for Krishna, otherwise you wouldn't be doing this, you wouldn't be giving your life in this way. Even if it's that you're only staying in the ashram for some time and whatever, you're going to move on in your life and go live more of a normal life. Ultimately, you can't forget Krishna. You can't forget this. And as a lot of the Prabhupada disciples that come here, and older devotees that come to our camps and such, they always say like, you'll always remember this is like the best time of your lives. This is like, really remember these years and these moments and this association, because what's happening here is a very special thing. And they know that because they went through the same thing. They were, in the 60s and 70s, they were also living in this way and very blissful and fully dedicated to the service of the Lord. And so many of them continued on in that way, full service, full-time serving Krishna and all that. But others had to go work, and they had different obligations. Their parents might be sick and they have to go take care of them, like happened with Mukunda Datta Prabhu, and all these different things come up in material life that ultimately are not so blissful maybe to be in. But we should realize that the very, very good fortune that we have to be here. And also we should, have a good time, have fun, have loving relations with devotees, but we should also take it very, very seriously. we should be extremely, serious about this. And, Prabhupada came and he was very grave, he did crack jokes and things like that, but he was also very grave about the philosophy and the urgency of it. He's urgently preaching that you have to take this up right now. There is no time to delay. Do it right now. This Labdva Sudurlabham Idam Bahusam Bhavante, verse 11.9.29, that this human form of life is extremely rare, and after attaining it, one should fully endeavor for spiritual realization, spiritual perfection, because this sense gratification that everyone else is chasing after is available to hogs and dogs as well. They're getting the same amount of sense gratification out of what they're getting, what they're doing. So they're having sex, they're eating, they're, sleeping, they're enjoying life so much, and they don't require nearly as much endeavor to get all those things either. So we should realize the absolute uniqueness of our opportunity here, that we were, lucky to come into contact with Prabhupada's, movement, get Prabhupada's books, be born in this time that's right after Lord Chaitanya came, right after Krishna came, right after Prabhupada came, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur came, all, so it's like such a very, very unique position. We're in Kali Yuga, where you just have to simply chant the holy names and you can go back to Godhead. We don't have to perform austerities for tens of thousands of years, all these things. And we should take it very, very, very seriously. We should be very, internally we should have a mood of gravity, to us, and realize that this is a very serious thing. This is, life and death, and the consequences are extremely grave. When you think about it, I've just been reading this descriptions of the hellish planets chapter in Canto 5, and what your face if you don't take up Krishna consciousness seriously. And we're lucky to have been saved from that fate, because simply by chanting we're saved from going down to hellish life. But what luck we have that we came into contact with this. And if we hadn't come into contact with this, the hellish situations we'd have been in, the hellish lives that we would have had to live after this because of our sinful activities in this modern society that everyone's engaging in, is really, really terrifying. And it's also, kind of made me think like, wow, we really have to distribute Prabhupada's books. We really have to give people the holy name. We really have to get out there and preach, because these people are suffering and their fate is so bleak, it's really dark. So we have to give them this first taste of Krishna consciousness. We have to give them this smell of the dust of his lotus feet, This is our duty. We're simply instruments in the hands of the Lord, that we can go out and perform Harinam and do Sankirtan and give people books and, give so many books, make more devotees so that they can distribute more books, and continue just spreading this movement over and over, and just expand it, go to every single town and village. And, we have, this temple here, but we could have temples all over, and we could continue expanding and growing. The other aspect of, our luck is that we're here at Krishna Life, where, again, so many Prabhupada disciples have come and said, and senior devotees have said, this is the real thing. This is what Prabhupada wanted. This is exactly what you're supposed to be doing. There's a lot of the other places in the movement, they're doing some watered down, they're doing some kirtan melas, they're doing this and that. They're having Willow Smith come and sing in their temple room, and it's really, was so ecstatic. Wow, she's an amazing singer. But okay, that's cool, but are you preaching the absolute truth to Willow Smith and making her into an actual devotee? Or you're just saying Haribol, here, take some prasad, wow, you're so amazing singer. So, we're preaching the absolute truth. We're reading Prabhupada's books. We're preaching from Prabhupada's books. We're distributing Prabhupada's books. And this is extremely pleasing to not only Srila Prabhupada, but the whole entire Guru Parampara, all the devotees. It's pleasing to all these Prabhupada disciples that come here. So we're getting so much mercy to do this. And let's just continue on doing it. It's so ecstatic. There's nothing wrong with it, There's no problem. So yeah, I'm just trying to emphasize that point that Even if you're struggling at some point and thinking, oh, well, what am I doing? Like, just really meditate on, like, that first taste that you got of Krishna consciousness, and meditate on, like, all the good times, all these, like, amazing festivals that we've had, Janmashtami, and, like, these camps that we have, and all the amazing association we've had, your favorite TSKP trip, or, like, this one time you distributed books to someone and they started crying, or whatever it is, There's so many amazing moments in Krishna consciousness. Like, before I came here, like, I can't really think of, like, many, like, amazing things that happened in my life. It's just, like, pretty boring, pretty normal stuff, like working and okay, like, whatever. Yeah, golfing, that was, like, ecstatic, But, like, coming here, it's like almost every day, almost every single day in Krishna consciousness is something new, some new inspiration, even if you just hear one thing, like, you hear something in a lecture by your Guru Maharaj, and it's like, wow, like, I didn't think about it that way. Or yesterday for me, it was when this pastime of when Vasudeva was taking Krishna to Vrindavan, and he fell in the river, and me and Tapas were talking about that. He's the one that knew about that. But anyways, when Krishna fell in the river, and then Vasudeva was like, no, Krishna, it was just like, wow, that's so ecstatic. Like, to think about, like, how he must have felt, like, so fearful, and, like, it enhanced the mood between them. It's like, so wow, it's really mind-blowing. So, there's just so much nectar in this, so much infinite nectar. We read these books over and over again. I heard Mahotsa Prabhu saying that Ram Roy Prabhu in New York has read the Bhagavatam, 44 times, 45 times, or something like that. Is it? Do you remember? It's something like that. It's like, yeah, he, like, knows purports, like, just by, like, heart, and he can just, like, say the whole thing. It's like, in his class, he'll just, like, start speaking a purport, and then most like realize, oh my God. So, like, the point is that these books, like, the taste that you get from is so sublime, it's so, like, supreme, it's just nectar that nothing in the material world can give you that. No mundane art, no mundane poetry, no mundane books, music, anything like that. Nothing can give you that taste, because it all becomes stale. There's this podcast I used to listen to called, what's it called? Dissect. And it's like, you know what I'm talking about? Yeah. So, like, basically this guy, like, takes, like, these, like, big, like the best, like, rap albums. Like, he takes, like, Kendrick Lamar and all this stuff, and then he goes through and, like, breaks down every single lyric and, like, every single, like, melodic motif and every sample that's used. And it's literally, like, you realize when you hear that, actually, like, the artists, okay, they put a lot of work into it. Like, they're doing some pretty complex artistry by, like, taking this one sample from this one song, but the sample itself is actually like a political message that they're saying with it, but you don't understand it when you're just listening to the music. There's a lot that goes into it. But the point is that, okay, like, they might be very artistic, very, like, skilled at doing all this, wrangling all these lyrics and whatever sounds to make it very nice, but ultimately you listen to it, okay, it's cool. You listen to it 10 times, okay, whatever, and then 100 times, if you listen to those amazing albums that are so artistic and so, like, well thought out, if you listen to it enough, it'll become very stale and, like, okay, like, I've heard it so many times. We've all had an experience with, like, our favorite song. You listen to it, it's like, this is such an amazing song, and then you keep listening, and it becomes very, like, okay, it becomes like torture. I think I mentioned that before in a class that in Guantanamo Bay, the way they torture people, one of the ways is that they blast one song over and over and over and over for day and night, day and night, day and night. And eventually it drives you completely crazy. But we're literally doing that with these books and with, chanting, like, we're chanting the same thing. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Over and over and over again, hours and hours every single day, 2 hours a day chanting on our beads. And it doesn't become stale. We don't start going crazy. It's only 3 words. What's going on? So, like, the people outside, they see us and they think we're completely mad. They think we're completely crazy. They see us chanting on the streets, saying the same thing over and over again. They think we're, like, psycho. What's going on? These people are, like, on drugs or something. Like, what's going on here? But really, I mean, it's really unfortunate for them, because they haven't gotten that first taste of Krishna consciousness where they understand that this is completely different from material enjoyment. This is a spiritual taste. This is the higher taste, like I was talking about. And, these people, it's really unfortunate. There's so many actually really horrible things that they do against devotees. I mean, back in the 70s and stuff, they were like literally attacking them and all this stuff. And then they, what do you say? Deprogram, exactly, yeah. They came and kidnapped them and told them they were brainwashed and all this stuff. And you go on our YouTube channel, this one that me and Chandan make videos on, and all the comment, like 99% of the comments are like, it's a cult. Like, I looked this up and it's actually a cult, guys. Like, it's really bad. And like, they don't understand. They can't possibly understand, like, because they're envious of Krishna, and they think he's, an ordinary man, avajananti mamudha, and they lack faith in devotional service. Ashadadana purusha dharmasyasa parantapa aprapya mam nivartante mriti sangsara. So their fate is repeated birth and death in this material world, full of suffering. And these really, I was trying to preach to some of these people at Comic-Con, which was a big mistake. And, they're so unintelligent. Like, they, you tell them, okay, like, you're going to die and be reborn again. And I don't care. That's okay. I would love to do that. I want to be a dog. Like, they really are so covered in ignorance that they think, like, reincarnation is fine, death is fine, like, okay, like, disease. I had this one guy tell me that, like, he likes suffering. And I was like, so why don't you, like, just, like, hurt yourself? He's like, I don't want to. I was like, but you like it. I was like, but, you like it, though. He's like, no, I don't want to, though. It's just, they have no logic. They're stupid, So, yeah, especially there. This one was surprisingly, they weren't so bad, but they, so they throw words like, oh, it's a cult, they're crazy people, they had nothing going for them in life, so they did this so they could get a free place to stay. They come up with all these things, like, but at the same time, these freaking people, we were outside this convention center, walking in, and right outside the door is this dang Planned Parenthood people. They're out there raising money from all these Comic-Con Bob attendees and taking their money to fund abortions. And the whatever organizers, or I don't know who's in charge of that, the organizer, whatever, is happily letting them do that, They didn't pay for a booth or anything like we did, they didn't, so they're out there soliciting for money to fund killing babies. And if we did the same exact thing, just go out there, but we're just asking people, here, take these books, it's really amazing, please give a donation. We would immediately get kicked out, the police would get called, come, If we stayed, we'd be arrested. So it's really a sad state, it's like a very demoniac society that they'll happily encourage people to pay for murder and, just killing millions of babies. But, if you try to give some books on spiritual knowledge and actually help people, help them, and serve them, you're kicked out and called a crazy cult member and all these things. And that this is the other thing anyway that I wanted to bring this up because this was kind of crazy. This is so at this convention, Tapas and Mahotsa Prabhu went to go distribute some books to this Avatar guy, the guy that played the Avatar, and that whatever, it's like some big anime thing. So they're waiting in line. There's a big line you have to wait in to go see him and talk to him. So they're waiting in line, and they're standing there in their full outfits, their Jedi costume, whatever. They have the dhoti on, kurta, tilak, everything, shaved head. They're holding these saptas, or they had one sapta, right? Yeah, they had a sapta and a bhakti stack. And then this like Mataji saw them, and she's like, "Oh my God, like they got you too. Like those guys that do those things are scammers. These guys that give the books, this is a scam. Like we have a whole group chat. They have a group chat for like all the Comic-Con attendees, like that's like the in crowd. That they go to all the different Comic-Cons, they're like the like homies, and they say like on there like, oh, look out for this guy, this one guy, like his whatever, his one thing, like his figurines are not high quality, they fall apart, whatever, they like call out people, whatever it is, and they put us in there, and they say, these guys are, this is the scam, they call us the scammers. And they say like, oh, look at this, these books are fake, blah, 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 blah. And so she started saying all this stuff, like, actually these books are just Wikipedia articles that are like photocopied in there, and they just like Photoshop it into the book, and it's not a real book actually. It's just Wikipedia. Like, no, I didn't get in the group chat. So then the whole time she kept talking to them and like, oh, and like, it's a scam because they get the books from India and then they resell it. And then Moses was like, so like, what if it's like all these people they buy stuff from China and then they resell it here for, is that a scam? She's like, no, but this is a scam though. And he's like, so he kept like kind of like defending it, like, but why? Like, it says, they said they print the books themselves and like, it seems fine to me. Like they're just reselling it, like, and she's like, no, this. And the whole time she didn't realize that they were the guys. Like, it's so obvious. She's like, they have shaved heads. They always wear like these robes and they have this face painting on their face. And they're like, yeah, who are those guys? So they were like, yeah, no, they seem fine to me. They seem like nice guys to me, like they were cool. So crazy, like, so, oh my God, I can't believe she didn't realize it. But anyways, it's like, this is, the unfortunate conception of us out there, even though we're trying to do the highest thing, give them the highest knowledge, give them actual happiness. We're the only thing in that whole entire convention hall. It's a huge convention. My God, there's like hundreds of booths, or maybe like 1,000 or something. The only thing that's like valuable at all is to give them Prabhupada's books. All this other crap, literally they're selling pornography there. The kids are there. It's like so bad, actually. It's a really degraded place. But, these people are happily buying all this like little figurines of like an anime character, and like, I spent $70 on this. Like, it's so stupid. And you try to give them Prabhupada's books, and then no. You also notice when you try to give them the books, like when you try to give them the books, they immediately, no, I don't like religion. No, that's religion. Like they're immediately just like repulsed by Krishna. It's like really sad to see. And Moses was saying like Krishna must be so like, and it must be so like disappointing and like saddening to Krishna to see that the living entities are like so envious, so averse to Krishna. They're like not even willing to like even look at it, not even, they're just like, no, I don't like that. I know what that is. I don't like that. They haven't even looked inside the book. They haven't even read one word of it. They already know they hate it. Yeah, they say we're crazy, but they're, chopping off their genitals and, paying for abortions. They're people are going and shooting up schools. There's suicide, opioids, all this stuff. And we're just saying like, okay, let's like be simple in life, worship God, learn about God. And like, we're apparently crazy people. So, this material world is full of crazy people. There's no sane people there, and we simply have to wake them up from their illusion and give them Prabhupada's books and rekindle this relationship with Krishna for them, and help them rekindle that relationship. And Prabhupada's given us the perfect process to do so. We've got these books, we've got the holy name, a prasadam, which is really amazing preaching tool. And by doing this and by preaching the absolute truth, the sincere will become attracted, and they will automatically come and inquire and want to learn more. And we have to remember that what is this? I keep forgetting that one. What is it? 719. No, like. Bahunam Janmanamate Gyanavanma Papadite Vasudeva Sarvamiti Samahatma Sudurlabha. That it's only, after many millions of births, and Samahatma Sudurlabha, such a great soul is very rare that someone surrenders to Krishna. So you have to keep in mind that, like, why is not everyone surrendering to Krishna? Why, this is the real thing. This is so amazing. We're so happy here. We want other people to be happy, but we have to realize that the material conditioning is very strong. It runs very deep. It's deeply rooted, and the fact is only a few will actually surrender to Krishna. only those sincere souls that have, after many, many births and deaths, they might have gone through many things, or, they might just get causeless mercy of Srila Prabhupada. But it's a very rare thing, so we shouldn't be discouraged when we don't have thousands of people joining and, inquiring and all these things, and people are envious, people are not wanting to take the books. This is to be expected because we're in the material world, and the material world is the abode of those who are envious of Krishna. And we all have this disease, and we're jaundiced with this. And so, at first, this Krishna consciousness might taste very bitter. But as we go on and continue practicing and continue chanting and hearing and reading the books and all these, just going through the standard program that we've been prescribed, everything will become much more sweet. And we will reawaken our original Krishna consciousness and find actual happiness in life, this actual security. And we just can't actually even comprehend this beauty that Krishna has. We can't comprehend the extent of it. We get that small taste, and then we're willing to give up everything. We give up. We don't give up our families, but we definitely upset them in a lot of cases. They pretty much nobody who joins, their parents want them to join. Almost nobody. It's extremely rare. Even if they're devotees, they probably won't want their kid to be a brahmachari or brahmacharini. So we're naturally going to upset our family by doing this, which nobody wants to really do. We're naturally going to alienate ourselves from all of our karmi friends by doing this, which, again, not many people want to voluntarily do that. We have to follow these regulative principles, which, if you're addicted to breaking them, you don't want to do that. And we have to wake up early, which not many people actually want to do that. So we have to do all these things that we don't really like. It's kind of like, okay, like I got to do this. But ultimately, when we surrender to Krishna, it becomes much easier, and it's not such a struggle to do it, because we know we're doing it for a higher purpose. We're doing it for a reason. This is what Krishna wants us to do, and this is what will get us closer to Krishna. This will what will awaken our dormant love for Krishna in our heart and give us that higher taste by following this process. Okay, so I'm willing to do it. Just like again, this jaundice. You're taking that bitter sugar candy. It tastes very bitter, but if I just take this, it'll be sweet. It will be sweet, and this is a scientific process. And I've seen other people that are further advanced in their curing of this disease, and they're getting that sweetness, and they're telling me about it. So okay, so it's real. And you see that, you see the people that are and you see pure devotees that are completely tasting the sweetness, and that's like your guiding light. Your spiritual master is like you're just running after him, chasing after him. And on the other end, you can see the materialists. They're miserable. They're tasting that very bitter fruit of material life. They're not getting any sweetness. They're not getting any nectar out of life. And so you immediately can see, I don't want to go that way. I want to go this way. And even if it seems very difficult, very hard, just remember that, spiritual life might be difficult, but material life is impossible. There's no winning in material life. Even if you might seem to be the most materially successful person in the world, it's all for nothing in the end. And this Krishna is so beautiful and so attractive. Even he's attracted to himself. His Lord Chaitanya comes down because Krishna wanted to experience what it's like to be attracted to him. And so he comes down in the mood of Radharani, his topmost devotee, and experiences what it's actually like to be his devotee, because there's this pastime, and Krishna looks in a jewel, I believe, in like a pillar in Dwarka, and he sees himself, and he's attracted. He's like, whoa, who is that? I've never seen someone so beautiful. So it's amazing. Krishna is also a living entity, and everyone's attracted to Krishna. Even Krishna is attracted to himself. So this is a very unfathomable thing. It's a very inconceivable thing. We might be able to see something very beautiful in this material world and think, wow, that's like so amazing. I'm so attracted to that thing, whatever, woman or like nature or whatever, music, something like that, art. Golf course, that is there. And we might be very attracted to it and think, wow, that's so beautiful, so amazing. But we can't even wrap our minds around, okay, it says that, well, the demigods are, millions of times more beautiful than the most beautiful person on this planet. And then from there, the goddesses of fortune and the residents of Vaikuntha, they're millions of times more beautiful than that. We can't even comprehend like what that actually looks like. And, we can't comprehend even something probably like 20 times more beautiful than the most beautiful person on the planet. It's like, how do you get more? Like, but it is, and it's, it must be so attractive and so amazing to behold that and to, so we should take that promise and understand that that is what our goal is. That's what we're going for, is this topmost happiness, the topmost bliss of directly serving Krishna, engaging in his service full time and with unmotivated and uninterrupted service, and understand that this is the topmost destination, the topmost goal of all living entities. Even the demigods are wanting to be in this position of having this opportunity that we have right now. And it's very short life. We can perfect our life and go back to Godhead. And they have to live, so many years, and it's very difficult to attain perfection up there because the material enjoyments are so much. Here we can see the suffering of the material world, and it's not so much that we are completely overwhelmed by suffering, but we're able to detach from material life and this human form of life on this planet. And in this Kali Yuga, again, we just chant the holy names and we can go back to Godhead. So it's really such an amazing opportunity. The other thing that just is mentioned here, I didn't prepare so much for this part of it, but simply by expanding the leaves of his eyebrows, Krishna has given the death blow to those who are burdening the earth. It's amazing. Krishna, creates the whole, or he impregnates the whole universe with his glance, and just by looking at it, all the living entities populate the universe. And again, just by expanding the leaves of his eyebrows, he's given the death blow to those who are burning the earth. He came to annihilate the miscreants, and he doesn't even have to lift a finger actually to kill the demons. He can just do it by his own will. Just think about it, and they're gone. He arranged for this entire battle of Kurukshetra. He arranged all of this very expertly so that all of these, demoniac kings would be annihilated, and again relieve the burden of the earth, as it said here. And he killed so many demons, obviously, in Vrindavan. So many demons came, and he killed Kamsa, and then so many. He just kept killing demons all his life and protecting the devotees in that way. And so it's really amazing. And by killing these demons, it's not that he's like something like Hitler or something that's killing all these people, and that's very, very horrible. But by killing, he's actually liberating them. They're getting the ultimate benefit by being killed by Krishna. So what may seem to a materialist to be very bad, he's a killer and he's doing all these, wow, he's so violent. Actually, this is very good because it's on the absolute platform. It's on the transcendental platform. It's on the spiritual platform. He is giving them the ultimate benefit, and some of them would get impersonal liberation, and then some, like Putana, would get actually positions in the spiritual in Vaikuntha in Goloka Vrindavan. She was a mother. She became a mother in the spiritual world because again, Krishna is so merciful that even though she came to kill him and poison him and kill him, because she offered her milk to him, he took that as her acting like his mother and gave her that benefit, even though her intentions were completely horrible. So you see that Krishna is so merciful, and imagine how much more merciful he will be to his devotees who actually are acting with love and affection for him and trying to serve him through that, and not acting duplicitously like she was. It seems like, he's giving the death blow. That's so intense. That's so bad. But ultimately, it's good. He's helping these living entities. These very demoniac living entities, he's actually giving them the ultimate benefit. So all of his activities are good. There's no bad in Krishna. Everything he does is good. Everything about him is good. And so even his killing is very good. Okay, that's all I had for the class. It's 8:45. Okay. Any questions, comments, corrections, please? Okay, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Let's see here. There's a couple small things. One thing is, you're talking about in the beginning of class about how, we come to Krishna consciousness, we remember the first time and this and that. I remember Mahotsa Prabhu, he would mention in his class sometimes, but I'd also talk to him about that a lot. And just kind of it's really encouraging and amazing and important in Krishna consciousness that we create these devotional samskars, because they make impressions on our consciousness, when we celebrate Janmashtami or Vyas Puja, all these different things. And at least for me, and just in general, I think for everybody, but the longer that we stay in Krishna consciousness, kind of the more that we, of those experiences that we have. And I think that's especially important, for some of us that don't have that have demoniac birth, of so many different bad experiences or whatever, remembering these stupid karmi movies and all these different things. But it's nice, when you go to a place or a temple and it's you remember being there so many years ago and you did this and did that and that person was here and that was there, because that's, it helps one's Krishna consciousness. Anyways, I had another thing, but I'll just ask a question. So in this verse here, it's mentioned that, the question is stated, who after smelling the dust of his lotus feet even once could ever forget it? So, I think my question is obvious. It seems like people do forget it. People take the Krishna consciousness, or there's some, and then they just kind of vanish or whatever. Or they seem like they block Krishna out of their minds. So I don't know if you have any elaboration on that.
One thing that I heard when I first came that was really stuck with me is that even if you do leave and you stop practicing Krishna consciousness, in the back of your mind, it's always going to be there in some way. People know they're gonna die, but so many people go through life acting they don't know that, or they don't care, whatever. But they do care. They're scared of it, but they say they're not afraid. They're not worried about it. Whatever, they accept. Oh, it's part of life, but they don't know what's gonna happen after it, and they don't know where they're going. So they're somewhere inside of them there is that fear. Similarly, if you experience Krishna consciousness, you get a taste of Krishna consciousness, and then you go back to just being a karmi. You're not going to get, first of all, you're not going to get the same enjoyment you got out of the old things you did as a karmi. You won't be able to enjoy, because it's now that it's wrong. Now that, the truth. That Krishna is God, you're his servant, and that, ultimately the only way to be happy is to serve him. But you might be able to cover that up. You might be able to convince yourself that that's not the case, and this is all actually, it's not real, whatever. But that taste that you experience in Krishna consciousness won't, it'll always be there somewhere. And it's just there's no loss or diminution on this path, whatever progress you make, you pick up where you left off in the next life. So even in life after life, you're going to remember in some way this experience of Krishna consciousness, and you'll pick up from there. So that's kind of my understanding.
Also with that, I was just thinking that it's the unfortunate, those who do forget their unfortunate position, it's being glorified, and it's those who do forget, it's how could you ever do that? How could you, it's glorifying that who could, after smelling, but then those who do forget, it's how did you, there's so much philosophy within that, because the power of illusion, power of Maya, how you can forget Krishna. So that's when you ask that, it immediately made me think of that. It's like when you do forget, it's like, and sometimes you come back to Krishna consciousness, and then you realize like how strong illusion is, the taste of Krishna consciousness, that you can lose that, and by your desire to enjoy in this world, and so you lose the supreme enjoyment. So it's like, yeah, it's a glorification, but at the same time, it's also like those who do forget. It's like, wow, damn, you're really unfortunate. So in that lecture, Maharaj mentions about those scholars, that scholar lady who woke up in the morning and was thinking, what would Radha be doing right now? Oh, I can't think about that. That's just mythology.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And he's saying, and he's practically crying out how close they are. They're close, right there, lotus feet of Krishna, lotus feet of Radha, is thinking about her.
Absorbed.
First thing you wake up, you think about, I wonder what Radha is doing right now. Oh, that's illusion. Don't, I can't think about that. It's just mythology. So it's just like it's a glorification, and it's like also gives us a deep understanding of our like circumstances when you do go away from that, or those people who have stepped away from that, how unfortunate it is. You had something more? I had the eyebrows mentioned specifically here. I think there's many places must be mentioning how, especially when Lord Nrsimha killed Hiranyakashipu, rolling his eyebrows in anger is specifically mentioned. But it's one thing I was thinking about this was that sometimes we hear that if you have lusty desires, you can look at the eyebrows of Krishna. You can concentrate on the eyebrows of Krishna. So you can also take it like that with some poetic license that we have demoniac lusty desires.
Yeah.
And Krishna, just by looking at his eyes, he doesn't even have to raise them, practically.
Yeah.
Just by seeing his eyebrows, those demoniac lusty desires can be vanquished and destroyed. So it's like, there's a lot to this. It's really ecstatic.
Yeah, definitely. Anything else from the men? No. Okay. Mataris? No? Okay. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Vanchakalpatarubhyascha, Kripasindhubhyevacha.